great, so make sure that you also practice first if you would ever use this in a real shoot. Now let's bring everything into Premiere Pro. I have the two shots here in my timeline, and the first thing that we'll do is the green keying on the second shot. You'll find out that it's not so simple to key it out. The lighting is not ideal, you'll have a moving green screen, so that are all complications. To fix that, I'm opening up the Lumetri color window first. If you're shooting flat or in a log profile, apply a LUT first or do a basic color correction. Next up, we'll move over to the HLS secondary. Here I can use the color picker to select the green. I enable the masked view from this checkbox and can now refine my color selection through the hue, lighting, and saturation selectors. Make sure to play your clip and check if everything stays selected as the cabin opens. Now once you've got the selection right, disable the mask, and now we're going to make sure that that green selection is extra green and more vivid. Simply slide the tint all the way to the green side and increase the saturation. Now it'll be a lot easier to pull off that key. Head over to the effects library and locate the Ultra key. Drag it to your clip and use the color picker to select the green color. You might want to refine your key a little with the controls below. However, it's not a huge problem if the key is not perfect, and we'll get into that in just a moment. The first clip sits inside the mirror, so we'll have to flip it. Simply drag the horizontal flip effect from the library to that clip. Then put that second clip on top of the first one and align it so that the timing is correct. Pay attention to the hands so that they perform the same actions at the exact same timing. We're also going to realign and scale the first clip, and that was the reason that we shot it in a wider frame. The image inside the mirror has to match with the second shot. Just as I'm opening up the cabin, I'm creating a keyframe for the position. Then move a little back in time and rearrange my position to a framing that I like. The effect should already be working now, but there's one final detail that we must complete, and that is back at the keying. You'll find out that the keying might not be perfect, but as you can see in the example, it also doesn't matter that much. It looks like stains and makes the mirror more realistic. However, I do want to keyframe the pedestal to have a more aggressive keying in the beginning and slowly make it less aggressive. That way the transition through the mirror fades in instead of a hard cut. And the same thing goes for when the cabin opens. You might want to keyframe the pedestal or another property as your green tint is changing here, and you might want to change the look of the reflection here. Now going back into the mirror works exactly the same, so I'm going to leave that up to you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay creative. Jordy here for citycam.net, and it is Copycat Friday! Isn't that right, Sprinkles? Oh yes, it is. He doesn't want that. Jordy here for citycam.net, and it is... Jordy here for citycam.net. It's Jordy here for citycam.net, and welcome to Copycat Friday! Now this is a series where we break down the effects or video techniques from a music clip or film. Today, however, we're taking a look at YouTube creator Kevin Perry. Now he has made this fun video where it seems like he lives like a giant in his house. He also explains how he did it, and you can find that original video in the description below. And today we're having big support by Rocketstock. Now we have been using their transition pack Prism for a little while now, and it's been absolutely amazing. I love to use these drag and drop elements on promotional videos after movies or music clips. They add a great dynamic to your project and can be used in any professional video editor, just like Premiere Pro. Definitely make sure to check it out. You can do so by clicking the first link in the description below. Alright, let's create some giants. First up, we'll create the giant in his house, and this starts with a normal shot from our garage port, which is going open. Important is that you film this from a tripod, as we're going to composite another shot into it. Next up, we took out a large carton box in which Janek the Giant took place. Now, to keep the lighting conditions the same, we also placed this box in front of the garage. Now, very important is that we keep the perspectives the same. Now, Kevin placed a foil on his screen, but you can also just use a watermarker. Simply draw the perspective lines of the garage on your monitor. Then we switch back to record mode, position that carton box so that it fits within that size and perspective. Again, film from your tripod and then take the 2 shots into Premiere Pro. Drag the shot of the garage port opening in your timeline and head over to the opacity property. Now from here, you want to click on the pen tool to create a mask. Simply draw a mask around the opening of the garage. When you're done, you want to click on Invert under the mask properties. At the point where the garage opens and closes, you want to animate your mask with it. Enable the animation for the mask path property and adjust your mask as the garage port opens and after that also closes. Now, since we're going to speed up the opening of the gate, we're going to nest this layer. Right-click on the clip and say Nest. Move the nested sequence to track number 2 and drag the clip of yourself sitting in the box underneath that on track 1. You might need to adjust the scaling and position it a tiny bit to get the clip right in place. If you notice that your mask is too visible, you might want to go back into your mask properties and play around with the expansion or feather. I'm going to take a duplication of the nest by holding down my Alt key and dragging it to the channel above. You might want to disable this track as well, as we'll use it later. Then I cut the part where the garage opens on the first nested sequence. It takes much longer than Janek's movement, so from the toolbox, take the Rate Stretch tool and compress the part where the gate opens to speed it up. You might want to play this back and adjust your speed percentage a couple of times to get it right. Now do the same thing for when a garage closes, and that should leave you with this result. There's probably one thing that you notice, and that is the part where we've speeded up the clip. It doesn't look so natural, and that is because of the surrounding. Clouds will move faster as well, or wind through the leaves, and that's why we've duplicated this nested sequence. I'm going to enable that layer again and draw a rough mask around the gate. Now from the properties, you probably want to feather this a bunch and of course invert the mask. Now the surrendering stays at normal speed while only the gate goes open and closes at a speed difference. Now when Janek the Giant comes to visit the office, we did the exact same thing. Now to make it yourself easy, make sure to remove anything that is hanging in front of the window. That way we can simply create a rectangle mask like we've done with the garage port.